One of the prosecution's main points when it came to the case against Luke Mitchell for the murder of 14-year-old Jodi Jones was that he had known the exact location of her mutilated body, which lay behind the wall out of sight from the main path, and that he could only have known this if he was the killer. Luke's defence was that his trained tracker dog Mia alerted him to the position of the body. Jodi's body lay over 17 yards, that's just over 50 feet, to the west or left of the V-break in the wall where Luke climbed over to search, after allegedly being prompted by his dog. He crouched on the wall, then turned left and was able to see her body in the dark in seemingly a matter of seconds. In his own words, he climbed over the wall and turned immediately left. He explained that he did this because as he and Jodi's gran, Alice Walker, sister, Janine, and her sister's then partner, Stephen Kelly, were walking down the path searching for Jodi, not even 20 yards past the break in the wall, the dog alerted as if she had smelled something. Luke had been walking slightly ahead of the others, but turned back to climb over the V-break and investigate. The trouble was that none of the other members of the search party agreed with his version of events. The theory is, if Luke simply walked directly to the V-break and not past it, he couldn't have known to turn immediately left without having guilty knowledge. That is, if the reason he provided for locating her body so quickly and easily was untrue, then he must have lied, inferring that he already knew her body was there. Luke's first statement, which was provided to DC Towers on the 1st of July, the morning after the murder, was read to the jury. In the statement, Luke said, "We walked past a V-shaped break in the wall, and a few yards, not even 20 yards past that, Mia stopped and put her nose in the air and put her paws up on the wall as if trying to sniff over it. I went, stop. Jodi's gran and the others watched the dog. I said I think she smelt something. I handed the lead to Jodi's gran and asked her to hold on to the dog." He goes on to say, "At the other side of the wall there are woods. I turned immediately left and followed a dirt path next to the wall for about 6 feet. There were no branches in my way, just a tree. As soon as I walked along the path, I saw this white thing that stuck out on the right. I could see it was legs, like a tailor's dummy. It was just a few feet past a big oak tree and some undergrowth and greenery. After I saw these legs, I just took another step to register it was a body lying there." At the trial, Stephen Kelly was asked how long had passed between Luke going to the V-break and then shouting that he had found something. He is asked whether it would have been minutes or seconds. Kelly replies, seconds. Stephen and Janine had overtaken Luke on the path after he climbed over the V-break. None of the statements point to them having walked much further past the V-break before Luke shouted that he'd found something. All statements confirm that Alice stayed at the V-break with the dog once Luke had handed her the lead. Luke's second statement, although the date is unclear, is read to the jury. In this statement he said, "She suddenly stopped, sniffed the air, put her head right up and was sniffing the air. When she turned to the right and faced the wall and started darting over to the wall, and like sort of trying to jump up against the wall and sniffing over it." His third account was given on the 14th of August 2003 to DC Thompson. In this statement he said, "When Mia stopped and air scented at the wall, then she started clawing up at the wall. We got to here. She sort of suddenly stopped, sniffed around, put her nose in the air, turned and went directly to the wall." Then we have a statement from Jodi's sister Janine. Unfortunately, there wasn't a date provided for this statement. She said, "Luke's dog was on a lead at all times but started jumping about at the wall. Luke then climbed over the wall and started searching about." When this witness is questioned, she says that she can't remember this happening, but she said if it was in her statement it must be correct. The precise location of the dog reacting is not given. She is asked whether she had ever said Luke had walked past the V-break. The Advocate Deputy Alan Turnbull asks, "Have you ever said to the police at any time at all that Luke walked past the V-break and came down again?" She replied no. Stephen Kelly's statements are read out during his testimony. In his first statement, dated July 1st, he said, "At one point, Luke's dog went to a wall that had the top bricks missing. It was sniffing and jumping up. Luke Mitchell jumped over it and said he could something. It was established in the court that a word was missing. Further on, he said, as we approached the V in the wall, Luke's dog started pulling into the side of the wall as it had been doing. Because of this, Janine and I had walked a few footsteps in front, continuing to look. Luke had went to the wall with the dog pulling. I then heard Luke shouting something like, "I think there's something here." He provided another statement on the 12th of July, where he said, "The dog was sniffing about and pulling him mainly towards the right into the undergrowth at the wall. I seem to remember Luke's dog pulling us over to the wall prior to us reaching the broken part of the wall where we went over. I stopped to check some," and it says incomprehensible, "in the undergrowth, but Alice carried on a couple of steps. I was aware of the dog pulling Luke over to the wall and standing on its hind legs with its front paws on the wall. The dog is an Alsatian and it's quite big. When it stood up, its head was level with the bottom of the V in the wall." Jodi's grandmother Alice Walker also provided evidence at the trial. Her statements from the 5th of July, 5 days after the murder, were read out. She said, "When Luke didn't see anything, we all kept walking. Just a bit further down, the wall had a hole in it, as if it had been knocked down at that particular spot. This is the part where Luke actually climbed over. I don't know what drew us to that part, but I'm certain it was Luke's idea. The dog didn't seem to be bothered, but I couldn't say whether it jumped at the wall or not. Luke handed me the dog's lead so as I could hold on to it, as he had decided to climb over the wall. I remained at the hole in the wall while Luke was over the other side and Janine and Stephen kept walking a few steps in front." This statement from Alice Walker describes Luke handing her the dog lead at the V-break while she waited and remained at that area. There's no mention of him doubling back having walked past the V-break. At the trial, she said, "The only people that walked past there, the V, was after Luke had went over the wall. Janine and Stephen just kept walking past." A map presented in court displayed marker points to the jury relating to the events surrounding the finding of Jodi's body. It is established that X marks the location of Jodi's body on the map and that X1 marks the point Luke claims Mia reacted on the opposite side of the wall. According to transcripts from the 14th of August interview with DC Thompson, Luke confirmed, "That's where she went to the wall, yeah." And that's referring to X1. He goes on to describe the dog sniffing around, putting her nose in the air, turning and then going directly to the wall. X1 is noted by the advocate deputy at the trial as a little bit beyond or to the west of the point, indicating the position of the body. This seems to suggest the dog reacting past the point where Jodi's body lay. Her body was around 50 feet west of the V-break. But that doesn't match up with the other given descriptions. During the August 14th, 2003 interview with DC Thompson, Luke said, "I stood on the wall, crouched on the wall, sort of checked. I couldn't see anything, so I decided to go, parallel to where Mia was. And I got to about here and I just saw what looked like a dressmaker's dummy's legs." X2 marks the location on the map where Luke first stopped when he was aiming to reach the area he believed to be parallel to where Mia had reacted on the other main side of the path. According to his first statement on July 1st, he only walked around 6 or 7 feet down to reach this point. Again, he said, "I turned immediately left and followed a dirt path next to the wall for about 6 feet. After I saw these legs, I just took another step to register it was a body lying there." Another marker on the map, X3, shows the jury the point Luke reached after moving 2 or 3 more paces from X2, where he was able to see that a body was lying there. This is the point he claimed to realise it was Jodi. In his statement he said, "I just recognised her as soon as I saw her." During the testimony of Stephen Kelly, Advocate Deputy Alan Turnbull uses a marker point of 13.6 metres at a reconstruction of the wall. As a comparison, Jodi's body was found around 16 metres from the V-break in the wall. This appears to correlate with X1 on the map where Luke told DC Thompson Mia reacted. The Advocate Deputy asks Kelly to stand at the V-break in the reconstruction, while he walks to the marker point of 13.6 metres. That would be just over 44 feet from the V-break. He asks Kelly if he saw Luke do anything like this, and Kelly replies, "No, he never done that." Kelly is asked about the dog reacting at X1 on the map and he responds, "It just wasn't what happened." On August 14th, 2003, Luke told police about the hole in the wall. He said, "I noticed it when I was down, when we were walking down because we were going slower and had managed to cam Mia into tracking mode, and I'd noticed it with the torch, but I hadn't taken it, know anything about it." Luke said that he noticed the hole in the wall for the first time while walking past it on the way back down with the others and before Mia alerted, prompting them to turn back and investigate. But if he never walked past the V-break, this can't be the case. This video is not to argue guilt or innocence, but just to provide transcript notes and comparison. Thanks for listening.